Next on the Love You More Show.
Let me say something else in there. What does a man not want to hear? You're not doing it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here I am submitting myself to therapy, and I'm not growing fast enough for you. I'm not creating an atmosphere that you need or that you want. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it because your kids still don't really like you.
Eat it for real. So what we do is when we don't feel that appreciation, when we don't feel that love, instead of talking and saying something, we start working harder. We just work harder. We grind harder.
If I can just be honest with you, bro, like I think I cry at least 4 times a week though. Like
And that's amazing.
I cry like 4 times a week. Like I cry just driving in the car. Like I'm so grateful. Like if you knew where I came from and the thought processes that was forced upon me because of the neighborhood I came from.
Yeah.
And like to see that divorce didn't kill me. I'm not trying to make it like it didn't hurt, but that part didn't kill me. The words of the people who turned their back didn't kill me. Adoption didn't kill me. My mama saying she didn't want to meet me in 2009 didn't kill me. Like when I look back over my life, I see that it's the hand of the Lord. The year is 2003. And I get a call from a young lady that I went to school with. She was telling me about her father. Her father, big time entrepreneur in the neighborhood. Of course, you know I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. So for somebody not to punch a clock and have his own business was just like foreign to me. So of course, I always looked up to her dad to see him going out doing what he has to do. Always smell good, hug him. You gonna leave smelling like Brute. Y'all know nothing about Brute. You're a little too young, praise the Lord. But during this call, she didn't sound as happy about her father as she traditionally does. And I was like, what's wrong? And I won't say her name, but she knows the story because I got an opportunity to speak to her and ask, could I tell her story during this conversation? And she sounds frustrated and she sounds scared. And she said, can you come? And I was like, where do you want me to come? And she said, I need you to come to the hospital. It's my dad. I was like, okay, what happened to him? Did he get hurt? Because of course his entrepreneur job was actually, working on a truck and plumbing and all the stuff that he's doing. So I thought that he was hurt. And I finally get to the hospital because she didn't want to disclose what had happened to her father. I walk into this hospital room and they're crying. And I was too late because her dad had passed. And I was shook. Was it something that I could have cut out? Because I had to cut some stuff off, had to make some calls, and then I got there. But because I thought that I had time, I missed the opportunity to see him before he left. I finally mustered the energy, the courage and the bravery to ask her what happened. This man, so full of life and so full of strength and so filled with so much builder's ambition, like he just had so much, he had took his life. And nobody's seen it coming. Now, listen, before you click off, I want to let you know that men have been suffering in silence. And maybe if you click off, you will miss the signs. And so here's the thing. This conversation is designed for you to know that although he may not say what he's going through, maybe through this conversation, you'll get the opportunity to master the signs. Today, I have 2 gentlemen, one that you're extremely familiar with. Over 1.7 million people has watched this clip. Over 200,000 people have seen the episode on him and I and another group of guys we got together. You've seen him on this show. And of course, Man Up Community is blowing up. He's a radio veteran. He goes by the name of Bowe. He's here. And then, of course, my dear brother from another mother. I like to call him Pastor Jasper Williams III. However, he's pastoring in a different way. He comes from a long line of amazing pastors who've done a lot of things for the kingdom of God. But this version of him is so necessary in this hour. So today, we're having a real conversation that I would like to coin. What the hell are men thinking? And how do we make sure that they're thinking the right things? Bowe, Jasper Williams III is in the building. What's up, champs? Y'all good?
Good, man.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. You already got me in your introduction.
Yeah.
That TED Talk.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. I'm good. Loving life.
Man, so here's the thing, fellas. I can never duplicate a conversation that's already been had.
Yeah.
And so I've been toying around with the idea, and you can let me know in the comments if you like this, but every month I want to make sure that we sit down, KD and I, and bring in a man that we can really chop it up with, share our perspective on life, and just see what comes out of it. But of course, mental health is one of the biggest taboos, especially in the African-American community. I remember when I started therapy on Tuesdays and I got on the air all across the country. Well, I just want to tell everybody something. I'm going to therapy on Tuesday, and every Tuesday I'm going to share this with you guys. People was calling, man, therapy ain't for you to be telling nobody, for crazy folk. And I was like, well, I think it's for folks who don't want to be crazy, who don't want to find themselves in a hole.
Yeah.
And I was going through so much. Talk about your therapy journey a little bit, KD Bowe, and how important is it for you?
Hey, man, it's vitally important because I think I did a post recently, and I likened going to therapy like maintenance in your car. If you only go to therapy when your car breaks down, that's like, or if you only, I messed that whole thing up. If you only take your car to get maintenanced, only when it breaks down, then it's going to always keep breaking down.
Yeah.
The thing is, you got to go in for regular tune-ups, regular check-ins. And that's what I do. And I was telling Shaquan earlier, I'm like, man, if it were not for therapy, I wouldn't be at this place where I am. I wouldn't have the mindset, the perspectives, because we constantly grow and we constantly change. And every time I grow, I see something else in me I never saw before. I grew to have the perspective to see that thing that needs adjusted. And I was not mature enough to be able to handle it at that level. But when I grew, I was able to see it. And now I can begin doing the work on it.
So KD, I remember sitting there with Love McPherson in the radio station. And then she's talking about therapy. I never been. And I remember the conversation I had with Iyanla Van Zant. And she said, we talked about adoption. And I was like, but I'm good though. And she said, how do you think you good and you never met nobody in your biological family? Of course, she probably said anybody because, that's who she is.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I'm good. And I did some spiritual bypassing. Well, the Lord knew exactly what he was doing. And then when love came, I realized that this was a moment where I had the opportunity to go to therapy because I never heard it in such a simple way. And I was like, I'll do this. And I just started. Like, what was that moment for you specifically where you was like, oh, I probably need some therapy on this? Was it something that somebody said? Was it something that you was in an argument, you blew up too big? For me, I just know it was like, that's a good question. How do I think I'm okay with all the stuff that I've been through?
Hey, bro, I've always believed in therapy, but it wasn't until the end of 2023 that I said, I'm ready to do the deep work.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to see some patterns. I've always had certain things, my stuff. But I'm starting to see some patterns now, and I'm starting to have some mindsets that I'm uncomfortable with. Yeah. Like depression is starting to be a thing. And my wife is looking at me and she's asking like, hey, what's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with you? And so at the end of 2023, I went to my therapist, shout out to Dr. Cola. And I say, hey man, I'm ready to do deep work. And I don't even really know what that means. And I'm sitting in my tent and he says, hey man, I'm gonna take you on a journey. Are you ready? And I said, wait. Let me go. I went to my studio. I won't be outside amongst the people. Man, he took me to the very moment, and I didn't even know when the wound started. This particular one. I saw the living room. I smelled the smell of the room. I saw everybody that was involved.
Wow.
And then as he was talking to me, nope. As he was talking to me, he said, now what did you need to hear then? Bro, I lost it. I was a puddle.
Yeah.
And that began the first time I started to cry.
What did you need to hear?
You trying to make me a meme like Jordan. All right. Okay. All right.
No.
Man, that I love you. I got you. I'm gonna protect you.
Who did you need to hear that from?
My father. But he said, since you're in this room now, if you're there, how do you show up?
Yeah.
Oh man, I poured on so deeply.
Yeah.
And I just protected this kid.
Yeah. Because
he needed me at the time.
Jasper, I got to ask you this because you come from a long line of amazing pastors and men. Your third represents at least 3 Jaspers. You know what I mean? Here's a man who needed to hear, I love you, that you're cared for in that space. You go through a mental health journey, but I don't want to speak out of turn. Sure. Maybe you did get the opportunity to hear all those things, but you still found yourself on the road where you're still needing some help. Talk a little bit about upbringing, having a father speak into your life, but still having to go through the ups and downs and ebbs and flows of just life.
Trauma is trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter where the trauma comes from. It leaves residue.
Mm-hmm.
Most time it leaves a hole. But the fathering wound is inextricably one of the worst wounds that there can be left. So whereas KD needed to hear that and he needed to hear it from his father, I heard it not regularly enough, not as regular as I would have liked it, but Dad would say it and then leave because he was preaching over the United States. I think my mom remembers 47, 48 weeks of the year.
Jeez.
That's when revivals, were 5 nights minimum, sometimes 7 nights.
Yeah.
And man, that left a hole in me. It left a hole in me to be provided for. I mean, everything, private school, all that kind of stuff, to be provided for, but without a face to know and to see and to share in the joy, in the dark moments. I remember just recently was doing some things with my mom, and I found a letter that my father had written when I was in lower school. And I may have another letter in 52 years that Dad wrote. And it was about me struggling in a particular area in school. And I looked at that letter, and as grateful and surprised as I was when I saw it, pain accompanied it. And the reason why the pain accompanied it is because of all the other, watch this now, unintended trauma moments that did not surface until I was an adult and married for a significant amount of time. Now I have to kind of deal with that.
So is it safe to say that marriage actually brings out some of the trauma that you have, and she scratches that itch and then you're able to discover it? So most men, when they do see that mirror of themselves, it's easier to fight the woman and say, hey, well, you need to be doing this, this, and this. What made you guys so mature to say, well, no, I'm going to look in? Or how long did it take for you all to be, to get to that point? Like, man, it's showing up pretty big.
So one spiritual dimension about marriage is that marriage is a covenant. And whenever you cross that threshold of marriage, the enemy immediately looks at your rap sheet and he looks at her rap sheet and he sees all the places, all the areas. The spirit realm is built on legalities. So he looks at all the places of offense and all this kind of stuff. And since his goal is to destroy the family, he begins to pick the fights that overlay each other, which can weaken a marriage. And so when I started thinking about that and my journey, it popped up. Man, I've been dealing with mental illness for 27 years minimally. When I got married, the first time there was an issue, we were 9 months into our marriage. It's Christmas time. She says something to me and I go off, nothing commensurate in my response. And I start tracing that thing back and how it popped up in marriage and the patterns, to use your word, that I had to learn to deal with.
So I got to make sure that I get this part right. So what I think I heard you guys say is that when you got into marriage, then that's when you were able to kind of see like, hey man, there's some things that are in me that I might need to go rediscover about myself. How do you have the strength and the courage to do that when you may have a person who only sees this, but a woman may not have the desire to walk with you in these little boy moments that you have on the inside because she married a man. She didn't marry that little boy. But
only she did though.
But she did, but she's just like, especially on social media now, if a man don't take care of the bills, then and even men get up there, well, if you're struggling and he with you, what type of man do you? He'd be like, bruh, like what's wrong with you? Life is life. Hey, Willie Moore Jr. here, the amazing episode is happening right now. However, I want to inform you that coming up here right before Father's Day, I have something special that I want to do with all of my brothers, my men. Ladies, make sure you send this to some brothers. We're going to be focusing on God, family, and business. When I got married at 26 years old, of course, I didn't have a whole lot of money. I didn't have a whole lot of influence, but I had a whole lot of ambition. And if I can be honest, that might have drove the whole family crazy. Well, maybe there's an opportunity to not have balance, but to live in the milestone. I want to teach you. I want to give you some of my mentors. I want to pour into men to make sure after Father's Day, we calling it halftime, that when you get to the second half of this year, that people will see the difference in you. And listen, they say that change can't happen in a meetup. Well, I don't know if you read your Bible, but when people encountered Jesus in such a way, life was never the same for them. I believe that life will never be the same for you. Make sure you click this link. Make sure that you look at the link on YouTube and come hang out with your nephew. Flat out. But how do you comfort a woman as you're going through this, or how does she comfort you? Or is this a road that you have to walk alone?
So Harville Hendricks wrote a book, Getting the Love You Want. And he has a theory called the imago therapy. Imago theory. You familiar with it?
Yes.
So basically, for those that are not familiar with it, so basically it is where you subconsciously marry the parent, the type of person that your parent was that hurt you the most, or your caretaker that hurt you the most, and you marry them. And I thought that was kind of hard to embrace, and you really have to do some deep work to figure out who that person is. But then when I started doing my own work, I realized that I had in fact married my father. And so
in your wife, you have married the character of your father.
Certain parts of my father. I'd married it. And the reason why we do that is a subconscious way, again, of finding a way to heal that gap. And so that you can be okay again. Air quotes.
That makes sense. So Jasper, I got to ask you this, because I want to move back to the conversation where you have a father who's taking 47 dates. He's in demand. He's preaching, teaching, deliverance is happening. But at home, mom has to do, whatever she has to do. What type of communication with that type of schedule could have been warranted as comfort for a little boy during that time? Because on the other side of this screen, we're going into some very unique times in this economy. Men are going to have to rev up and do some different things. There may be some times when they have to be out of the house, sometimes maybe 47 times. What type of conversation can we speak to our children? What would have been okay for you, knowing that he loved you, knowing that he'll provide, but didn't necessarily know how to be there in the house because he probably didn't see it either?
I will say this, that it was around that time they got divorced too. So I was 12, 13. There's a block of time out. And this is what I don't think that people really totally get. But the depth of the trauma determines how it affects our brain. And because of the divorce that my parents experienced, man, it was about 3.5 years that right now I cannot go and tap those memories. Wow. That's how traumatic it was. On top of dad not being there. So the way I would have wanted it to happen, ideally now, even as stuff is happening, as guys change, is for me to know that I was special. For me to know and feel. I had all the stuff, but sometimes I wondered, man, I got to know my father from the church pew. When dad would preach, he'd leave and go to the airport to be off, hugging him and him hugging me. His pursuit of me, dad was always available. But what I would have wanted, the little boy in me, is for my father to been there. Here's the thing. He just didn't know to do that. That's what I'd like to chalk it up on.
No, that's real. So as I sit here, and thank you so much for sharing, guys. This is good. So these are two men who both come from divorced homes, right?
No. My parents were together.
Your parents were together.
I sometimes wish that they were together.
So,
so you don't know. You don't know.
You like, hey, wait a minute. It's just too much. What type of because you talk about the trauma, and there are people on the other side of this, because these conversations we have, sometimes we talk about divorce and relationships or what have you. of course, I uncoupled. I like to use the word uncoupled. Some of y'all on social media don't like it, but it's a better word for my children when they watch. It doesn't hurt them. You know, that's just tough. So I say uncoupling. It's my specific word. I'm not trying to change your words. I've said that, hey, you special. I'm doing as much as I can to be there. I took myself off the road and started a show so we can really keep our visuals out. Like I was gone maybe 37 times a year, 40 dates. Like I'm just going out and getting it because I was doing what I had to do. And then we go through divorce. And I seen the eyes of my children change. Like I physically seen the trauma and what it did.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, is there a way to comfort a child who deals with that type of trauma so he doesn't have to grow into his later 40s and get married with this? Is there a way to kind of govern the injury to make sure that you cut it off at the pass so I don't send my sons out to a wife and then he discovers it at 40? But I just want to make sure that he has the tools. Is there something that we could do for our children, especially little boys? I have 3 boys and 1 girl. You know what I mean?
So I would say that we're in a fallen world.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is going to happen.
Yeah.
But nobody ever does it all right.
Ain't no perfect parents.
Yeah, I've been there for Quad and for Jordan. I had a chance to raise my kids, taking them to school, picking them up, this, that. But I still know that I've left some hurt and some pain, even the mental illness that I've grappled with. But I've learned to communicate that with them. And you said something. The same eyes that can hurt from uncoupling are the same eyes that can heal.
That's good, bro. That's good. That's good.
And when a man takes responsibility for his pain, it's something that happens to who it is that has been pained. Man, I wouldn't be married to my wife if she didn't see me putting in the work. But that makes room. It makes room for her to realize what my heart is. My heart is for me to be in a place so that I can love you better.
Mm-hmm. What doesn't a man need to hear in a relationship when he's doing this type of work? Like, what are some of the things that you don't need to hear when you're going to therapy, when you discover this little boy, when you begin to get on this track of, oh, I'm about to better myself? What could pull a man back to think, man, this ain't working with her? Like, bro, like this, is this really worth it? Like, what are some of the things that could really injure a man when you are that vulnerable and you're that wide open?
It's funny. Man, so many ways I can answer that. The first thing is I can't hear things along the lines of disrespect. Like, we don't deal with disrespect very well anyway. Mm-hmm. But if it feels like you're not along with me on this journey of growth, then yeah, I'm going to still grow. But the problem is I'm probably going to grow in this direction as you grow in this direction. So we all continue to grow. We'd have to determine whether or not we're going to grow together.
Indeed.
And that's the choice.
Yeah.
But then I tell you this other part, man, is that as I have matured more, I now know if my wife is coming at me with some real, some heft, man, it ain't her. It ain't the grown, smart, successful, powerful her. That's her little girl. And if I stay within myself and understand what I'm looking at, like, you would never handle Paisley in a way that you would handle a grown person. If Paisley is hurt or says something, Daddy, I hate you, you wouldn't be like, oh, dang, my daughter says she hate me. No, I don't want to. And you getting away from her, you never do that. So now when I see her doing certain things, I have to recognize that little girl and say, okay, I got it. And it show up a little differently. So that's on me. And that's me saying and identifying I will never let this happen to me again statements. I will never be this person again statements. Because most of the time when we double down on something, it's because we have made one of those statements before. Those statements like, nobody will ever talk to me like that again.
Right.
And even if somebody inadvertently talked to you that way, you snap unless you come to yourself and realize, oh, that's what that is. That's that wound. She scraped across that wound. Let me pull it back in. Because, bro, we can scorch the earth
Yeah.
when we feel like somebody's disrespecting us or that wound has been scraped.
Yeah.
Scorch the earth.
Everybody can get it.
Yep.
Let me say something else in there.
Uh-huh.
What does a man not want to hear? You're not doing it right.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here I am submitting myself to therapy, and I'm not growing fast enough for you. I'm not creating an atmosphere that you need or that you want. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it because your kids still don't really like you.
Ooh, yeah.
You're not doing it right because you're seen as an ATM machine. When we don't heal, that younger child in us does not heal through one therapy session.
Mhm.
And I think that that can become one of the chief separators in a relationship when there is a woman, a wife, a boo thing, a main thing. You're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Please, ladies, if you want to know anything, don't say you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
That will make that man step back from you. And that's the door for shame.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not doing it right, well, what am I not doing?
Mhm.
Willie like this, Bowe like this. It took him on this time.
Yep.
I don't see any movement in my sight, in myself. Well, you know,
Compare.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm done with this.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I can recall going to therapy, right? And I think I'm like a year and a half in. And I'm not pridefully excited about it, but I am godly proud
Yeah.
of the decision I made because for me in relationship, I'm like, listen, my parents have been married at that time 42 years.
Right.
I grew up in the house with them. No separation, no divorce. It was stick and stay all day. They adopted me, house full of love. Wasn't church going people. My auntie did that. My dad probably went to church probably like 20 times in my whole life, like with us. Man, you know, y'all do that thing. Man, I know the Lord, you know. 94 years old, I'm like, yeah, you do know the Lord. But in any event, I was hanging my hat on the fact that at least I grew up in a home where I had a mother and father, so I seen some form of example.
Mhm.
So pridefully, I was just like, listen, maybe you should take my advice because at least, you know, I did that. And see how prideful that sounds, right? So that was the attitude. So I ended up going to therapy, and then it's like, that ain't even no therapist, that's a counselor. That ain't even this, yo look. And it was just like, nah, I gotta finish this. And then I realized, especially to my men who are on the other side, I know many times you make decisions based upon what you think she needs. Therapy has to be for you. So no matter what anybody says, no matter what they don't see or what they don't see, like I'm going to keep trekking down this road because I know on the other side of this, there's a better version, not only for my wife, my children, but for the greater good of the call and the mantle that the Lord has on your life. So you got to do it for yourself. I want to talk to you just a little bit because it's a young lady from St. Louis. Her name's Leslie Lenore. She's a part of our community. She asked, are you going to be talking to men again? Because I got a question. I was like, yes. And she said, could you ask the mature men, Leslie, I guess I'm not mature, praise the Lord. She said, can you ask the mature men, what does apology look like from a mature man? Because she says that men often come in and they be like, oh man, you still mad at that? Oh man, come on man. Like, we done already talked about this. Just get over it. We got to move. I said, I'm sorry. I apologize. Is there a heart posture? Is there a temperament? What does apology look like from a mature man?
You got it?
Or are you asking an apology from a mature man or an apology from a mature woman? But, so let me explain.
Mhm.
So an apology from me to my wife. Let's go there.
Yeah.
It means I got to own it.
Mhm.
I have to say to her, listen, I'm sorry that I was snippy. When I said such and such, I felt it and I saw the look on your eyes, and I apologize for that.
Mhm.
From that point on, when it's meant genuinely, it's up to her to receive it.
Mhm.
Whether she's mature enough to, or whether she's not. But if she's not, there is a reason. And we have to be man enough to give them time
Yeah, bro.
to be able to come to the place and space of, I forgive you. And that may not happen immediately, but it is her responsibility. Now, what I've learned to do is to try, my wife is all right with this, is to say, okay, when we gonna check back in? When do you want to check back in?
Can I hit the bit? Okay, I just want to hit that bit.
When we gonna check back?
When we gonna check back in
Later on this
right there?
evening by 8.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning after we wake. So I let her determine that. So it's not then me. pushing it on her, but now the accountability is on her.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we come back to it, man, we ought to live in marriage at apology.
So I agree with you. And I would add this caveat that it begins with truly understanding what you're apologizing about.
Mhm.
Because a blanket, I'm sorry, a blanket, my bad, a blanket, hey, I hurt you, my bad.
Mhm.
But if you don't understand what you're apologizing for,
Mhm.
yeah, it means nothing. Well, it means less than nothing.
Mhm.
Like, what are you apologizing for? So me, I ask, and I have not done this well.
Thank you for being
Getting better. I ain't done this well.
Yeah.
But I've learned now to ask questions.
Mhm.
So when I said this, I noticed that how did that impact you?
Mhm.
And my wife, she ain't really going, especially when she's salty, she ain't really going to come right out with it.
Yeah.
She'd be like, but I know it did.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I got to stay with it, stay in that posture.
Yeah.
So when I said it, it made you, and I start suggesting things. No, that's not what it was. Okay, I
Yeah.
got it. So it did. Yes.
Mhm.
Made me feel blah, 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 blah. And how could you? And by the way, blah, blah, blah. And now we got to go back a few weeks, the stuff that I did back then,
Mhm.
and I just never talked about, but I got to sit there and I got to listen.
Right.
Because to her, it's all tied together.
Yeah.
And I have to say, with all humility, either I come from a place of authenticity.
Mhm.
If I don't understand it, I'm gonna say, yeah, I don't get it, but I want to.
Mhm.
Can you please tell me more? Because I want to apologize for this. I want to address this, and I want to address it for real,
Mhm.
so that you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I sent this long behind text yesterday because I know I didn't do well on the phone call. So when I got off, I thought about it. I said, okay, I see what happened now. And I hit her back. Long text. Hate long text. I sent a long text.
I was about to say, you never text. Yeah, because I ask people, like, hey, what's the best form of communication? KB be like, call me, because I don't do all that texting and stuff y'all do.
But I knew she was busy. But when she saw it, she hit me back with a long text. That's how I know she got it, because she don't be giving them long texts.
Yeah.
Long text. Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like you really heard what I was saying. It's like, bam, got it. You got to start by hearing what you're genuinely positive, hearing what the problem is, and then apologizing for that.
That makes
or
sense.
addressing it.
So what we went through just now, like we went through our little boy wounds. We went through a beautiful relationship. Now I want to talk a little bit. Well, we talk a little bit about business, but I want to pull back to my original story. Here's a man who got overwhelmed with all of the hands that he was dealing. He's taking care of these daughters. He's taking care of this wife. He doesn't have a place that he feels he can be vulnerable at home. Oh my God, did you see that? You didn't, because you ain't subscribed. But 300,000 people did. Come on, somebody. Listen, I want to tell you how excited I am for all the people who have made a beautiful decision to just not look from a distance, but become a part of our family. I'm so honored and overjoyed. Every person that subscribed for me is a person. It is not just about the 300,000 number. It's about 300,000 people who are getting an opportunity to enjoy what God is doing through this show. So listen, I'm honored and I thank you so much. I do not take this lightly. I hope you feel that in your shanana. I'm probably going to start wearing bigger clothes because the numbers went up so I can feel big, all right? Flat out. And you're like, yo, you know what? It's just better with me not in the equation, since I'm so, I can never be enough for you guys. Like, I can never be enough. Everything that I do, there's no celebration. There's no, like, I can keep the lights on, I can do this, but they will find something that I'm doing wrong. And that was just tough. How do we make sure men who are carrying all this responsibility, who have the pressure of not being able to be vulnerable, because in today's age, you're like, you a man. Even guys tell you, man up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, no, hey, that's just what you got to carry. That's what it is. Like, when is there a runway for men to take off on that's not so toxic, where you feel like you got to carry all this stuff? And, you know, sometimes it's like, hey, I don't, you know, not that I don't want to be here, but I think things are better without me here, since I can never do anything right.
Yeah, bro. I don't know if I should say this on camera, but man, that's been one of the real things I've thought about. Now, early on in my mental health journey, I had suicidal ideations. I remember this one where it's so palatable. Won't go there. But now, I wonder if I should just remove my presence.
There you go, Jasper. That's
from
it.
her.
Yep.
Not kill myself.
Yep.
But to remove, maybe it'll be better without me. Let me just take care of this. And I think a lot of men do it differently. So pick your poison, pick your options, but really is no more than just you trying to figure out the configuration of where you are, where she is, what you don't want to give up, what she wants to keep. And that is so the enemy. But it is also so palatable.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets modeled because that's what my daddy did. That's what my mama did. How many of us have seen relationships and marriages? We don't want our marriage to look like that at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are some practical steps, KD, for men who are watching or women who like, babe, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. Because that's what the ladies do when they get an opportunity to hear men drop the fourth wall and be honest about where they are. Like, what is it like? Can you paint a picture for the people on the other side for a man who's actually trying? And, I hate to use the word trying, but he's like, hey, I'm providing for the family. And then the word is, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Man, I'm taking care of these children in this private school or whatever it is. Well, that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, I'm staying consistent to date nights, but I don't do that enough. It's not consistent enough. I go to the job and Lord knows these people talk to me all type of crazy. I sit in that driveway for 30 minutes before I walk into their house because I understand I got to go to my fourth job. And there's no place of refuge. How does somebody support a man who goes into a world, takes care of what he's supposed to? Because this is what I'm noticing. I'm just be honest with you. The men who do all that catch the most hell.
Yep.
But the dude who stay and play the PlayStation all day and just lay up and lay the pipe, do whatever he want to do, or he don't show up for his kids, they're always begging, man, you gonna come see your kids, you need to do this. But for the guys who want to see their children, it's just like, nope, we're gonna make it hell for you. Yeah. And I'm not talking from personal experience. I'm thankful that I get the opportunity, court orders allow me to see my children the way it's set up. But like, what's the best way for a man to not meander in that circle and think that there's no way out and there's no place of refuge?
Man, it's such a multi-layered way to respond to this. But first to the man who is in that space. Hey, bro, you are a human being and you've been acting like a human doing. You are way more than what you do. You're so much more than what you do. The title, the label of what you do, you're so much more than that. And we get so caught up in that space because what we honestly are wanting, but we don't put words to it, is to be loved, to be valued, to be appreciated for real. So what we do is when we don't feel that appreciation, when we don't feel that love, instead of talking and saying something, we start working harder. We just work harder. We grind harder. And the challenge is oftentimes the people that we are serving don't understand our heart. We don't speak from our emotions. Hey, when you said that, that hurt me. When you gave me a tie for the last 4 years of Father's Day, hey, I felt some type of way about that. I felt a little disrespected. But we have to be able to speak it out, and you got to understand that who you are, what embodies you is you're not just physicality, man, you emotions. And that means something. Mm-hmm. It means something for you to say, I hurt, I get jealous, I have all of that, okay? That's number one. Number two is I think that women need to understand, and children, but send to our women, that the reason why we do what we do is so that we can feel loved, appreciated, respected, and valued. Mm-hmm. And if we don't feel that, we try harder. So that means if you're a woman that's watching this and he's pulling away, it's because he has decided that I've done the best that I can do with what I have and who I am. So you know what? Maybe this situation is better without me because you still ain't smiling. You still ain't happy.
Jeez.
After I'm giving my blood, sweat, and tears, I get up tired, I go to bed tired, and I'm still doing all the things, and you still not happy. But when you with them kids, though, I see the joy and jubilation on your face. When you're with your friends, I see it. So yeah, maybe I just need to move away. And guess what? I pay for everything. I pay for your lifestyle. But I just don't want to hurt you no more. Come on, Willie. Come on, bro. How many times have we said that? How many times have you said that, bro? I just don't want to hurt this situation anymore. It ain't about me trying to go outside and find somebody outside in the streets. It's just I don't want to hurt this situation anymore, and obviously I am. So how can I help this? Because my words don't seem to be working. My actions don't seem to be working. So why don't I just remove myself, to your point, from the equation, and maybe that'll make it better. And that's a thing. So we have to do a better job, ladies. I love y'all. You got to do a better job with affirming us. Sometimes your touch means the world. Just out of nowhere, hug us. Tell us how much you appreciate us, how much you value us, like how our presence means the world to you and how you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our contributions. We need to hear that shit. We need to hear it. And if we don't hear it, I don't want to say that. I don't want to be a threat. But the truth is, it's not like we don't hear it. We just want to hear it from our house. We want to hear from those that value us the most, that we value the most.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying?
I totally feel, but there's a second phase to that. So when you get to that place of resolve, now depression creeps in.
Come on, bro.
Because if I'm not getting over here, I'm trying to be faithful, I'm trying to take care of everything. What else do I do? Man, and then you start watching the wave of depression come in. Then you start to mute the feeling with your pain medicine, whether it's alcohol or with sex or whatever it is.
The light's bright outside.
Yes, and grass is greener. I'm the only one know it's greener. It ain't artificial.
I'm letting you know. They like the grass look green on the side. Well, I mowed that grass and it was greener.
And how about this? Mental illness can be and is epigenetic. It can run in your family.
That's good, bro.
That's the part.
And the other prior family may not know it, but now you get activated and now it feels 10 times worse.
Yes.
So I don't know how to get it to ladies.
Yeah. I
don't know how to make them understand it, but I do know you need to have a healthy circle.
Yeah.
Not them girlfriends that, you ought to he already. No, get a godly woman. Get someone you can respect. Get somebody who maybe had a marriage or relationship end poorly, but learn something from that.
Yeah.
So you can now connect. It's not just our fault. It's not just our place. I know we're talking to men, but we can't be a man without a woman.
There you go.
Expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, so we all got mothers.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
We may live in an alternative lifestyle. We may have been divorced. Maybe we have many women.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to even be the relationship. We're not men without women in our lives. That's period.
Yeah. So growing up in a household where dad's Mississippi guy, mama Louisiana girl, my mama say she wasn't an egg sharecropper. I beg to differ. I was like, you picked cotton, didn't you? Yeah. She was like, yeah, but hell, we had our own place now. We wasn't on the farm. Yeah. I was just like, who paid for it? Well, it was the boss man house, but it wasn't on the place. Yeah, that's egg sharecropper. But I just remember now that you're talking about it, I began to ask myself, like, how did my mother, because it wasn't a lot of money. I'm like, how did she show honor to my father? And I realized she honored him by communicating to me how important he was, and he heard it.
Oh my goodness.
You are so right, bro.
She just had a strategy, because she a tough woman. Love him, but she a tough woman. She gonna give you the shirt off her back. She gonna do whatever it is that he want, but not without a little lip. Even to this day, she 84, he 94. He losing his hearing. Well, he's overcoming his hearing thing. You know your ass can't hear shit. I'm like, Mama, don't talk to him like that. And she go to yelling and doing all that. And I said, Mama, you can't talk to him like that. And she said, yeah, I got to talk to him like that because he can't lose his memory. Because when I cuss him out, it's gonna make him think. You know, that's who she was. But I can remember as I was going through therapy, I was like, how did Mama honor Dad? But she would always, when I would feel like, man, I just wish he could come to this, and this, because he's working 2 jobs. When she would tell me by myself, but when he got home, she was like, hey, baby, so Dad's here. Now we got to make sure we got this house clean. We got to make sure that he get his food. We got to do what he got to do. Because, you know, he works really, really hard to make sure that everything is taken care of. And you know, baby, you can't eat right now until Dad get his first. And just, you know, just doing that. And my dad, he could just sit down and just, hey, you want something? You do da-da-da. And it was like my dad felt so much honor in his own home. So he would rather be there than to go work. Like, he would rather be there than to like, okay, cool, I'm at home, it's all good. So he wasn't running. He ain't never stay over nobody's house, like for long periods of time. Like if we go over my Uncle Blue house or anybody, like, you know, Willie ain't gonna be here for about 10 minutes. He love his house. You know what I mean? And so I didn't know the importance of that until I got married. And I didn't necessarily want to be like, I didn't have a urging to just like want to go home. And it was like the environment that I take full responsibility for was not conducive for the little boy that I needed to feel safe, Mama gave him everything that he needed. She spoke to the little boy that she didn't even know she was speaking to. Because guess what? He seen his mama be beaten by Pawpaw. He's seen women do a whole lot of crazy talking. He's divorced from a woman who chose to go out and do all this other stuff. Yeah, and then he finds a woman who he can serve, and the love was reciprocated with that type of respect. And don't get me wrong, they gonna get to it, but 50 years later, he realized that when her little girl showed up, it didn't disrespect his boy to the point where he couldn't turn into his man.
Yeah, and it's so good, bro. When you made the statement, I was pushing back mentally, you know, you can't be a man without a woman, you know, technically the whatever. But you said something that made me think about that. Like, my father worked all the time, and he never came to any of our events, like from school or anything, never, ever. But what my mom did, and this is the point where a wise woman, she can mold a situation to where everybody it's a win-win. So what she would do is she would come home, and let's say I was doing a gymnastics event or something like that, and she would come home and say, my dad's name is.
Subscribe to this channel and stop playing here. Listen, this conversation way too good, and there's more conversations that I don't want you to miss. Hit that little notification bell, comment, like, and subscribe. We on our way to a real big number, and we need you a part of it. Subscribe now. Now back to the episode.
Well, his nickname is Booty. Booty, you should have saw them boys out there. I'm telling you, I didn't even know Keith was that limber. He was jumping over that thing. I hear my dad. She said it loud enough and said with the door open so for us to hear it. Yeah. And I hear my dad, Helena, what? Honey, let me tell you, he jumped over that thing. He said he did. And what the people say? She said, they just clapped. And I said, oh, he said, I knew he could. And we heard the pride in his voice where he would never say anything like that to us. Not then. So we were able to get a glimpse into who my father was and how he felt about us through the lens of my mom being wise. So it's so valuable, bro. Yeah. It's so valuable. I don't want to go too far with that. I'm going to be a puddle.
Yeah. You know, thank you so much for sharing that. You said he would never do that to us. Why don't men do that to their sons? I'm not one of those men.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm letting you know, like, I put it on social media. Big kiss on all my big old boys that's taller than me. I don't care how much money you make, how much influence you got in the world. Just know, they already know. They're like, go ahead, Dad. We already know. I'm like, does this embarrass you? And my 22-year-old son during his graduation this Friday, I was hugging him and I kissed him on the cheek, and I was just so excited. I'm like, does this stuff embarrass you? He was like, nah, Dad. This is just you. This is what this what I need and this what you need to give me. And so they get used to that. And little boys need more love, in my opinion, sometimes than girls. Like I see what that does, what that does to my children when he has a tough game and he didn't do what he was wanting to do. And as a father, I've been down to his level because I'm like, if you don't have emotions towards a loss, then you're not human.
Yeah,
I don't be like, hey man, suck it up just and then I'm like, hey bro, I'm so glad that you pissed off that you didn't do your best.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel like that. And we'll just sit here. We'll just hang out in it for a minute until we get out. Can we sit here and kind of figure it out?
That's so good.
But I learned that from a man who did not have no education. Like he just had strategy. Like every time I wanted to quit, I don't know why, he'll just sit in that thing. Nelly sell 30 million records. I sell like 30. He like, man, that album didn't do as good as you thought it was. That was a damn good album. No, I still listen to it all the time. Yep, but the good thing I know about you, good thing you don't know how to quit.
Oof.
And I'll be like,
Oof.
that's right.
Oof.
I don't know how to quit. And I'm able to like pass that down. My daddy always hugged me, always looked me right in the eyes. Man, he told me when I came down to Atlanta, he said, Atlanta gonna be real good for you, but son, you got to be stupid down there though. I was like, be stupid? Yeah, you know too much and you're good looking. People gonna try to keep it away from you. He said, you go down there and you relearn everything that you already know and be teachable. And there's not a person in that city who ain't gonna know your name. And now every single day that I get on the radio or I get online and I look at the top markets, it's Atlanta. And there's not a place where people don't know my name. And the beautiful part of it is that the name that I represent is him. So if you know my name, you know who I represent. So you get an opportunity to learn my heavenly father, but the wisdom came through my earthly father.
Wow, bro.
And it's always going to be that love. But why is it that men feel like they can't embrace and hug and give affirmations? Every morning I leave my children, I say, you are smart, you're intelligent, you are loved, you are cared for, you are honored, you are trusted, you are faithful. Great things going to happen to you. I'm so thankful that I get a chance to be your father. Who's daddy's favorite 10-year-old? And they say, me. Who's daddy's favorite 6-year-old? Who's daddy's favorite girl? Me. Who's daddy's favorite 16-year-old? I know, Dad. Me. Who's daddy's favorite 22-year-old? Me, Dad. Because I want them to be so brainwashed of how much they fathers love. So when I say represent Jesus, they already got a tangible feeling of what that feels like. So why don't men do that? Like, why can't we love our boys? Ain't nothing zesty about hugging your son. That's your, like,
not at all.
You know,
bro.
I am itching.
Yeah.
And I hope we can get back to this.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you for trusting me with this question.
Mm-hmm.
What's making you cry?
Because I see what it does for their little hearts. They be like, your child, he on social media. I'm like, yeah, but I'm the most influenced. That's what I pray in my closet. God, give me the most influential voice after yours. I prayed that over my children since they were in the womb. I prayed that over my children when they was in the baby bed. Like I cry about it because I see the other kids that come over to my house and I see how they respond. Now, when I go to the school and I speak to my children, they're so used to it, but they still crowd around and look. Just to hear. And then when I see them, I'm like, come here, champ. It's all good, man. You smart too. You gonna do some great things. Like I understand the words from any father who sees something great. I'm gonna call it out at the school. I'm gonna call it out at the college. You see these little beautiful black boys at Ole Miss during that graduation. I was walking up to all of them. They looked like they was my babies. Man, I'm so proud of you because I know what the hurt. I see the healing of words. I see them like, dang, I didn't get that test right. It don't matter, did you do your best? Let me tell you something. 5 years from now, it's not gonna matter. So if you gonna do your best, do your best. And that don't make me like a parent that don't care about the now. I just understand we emphasize so much perfection that we miss the opportunity to love.
Yeah. And I think that men needed to hear that.
Yeah.
That men needed to hear from another man what touches our heart.
Mm-hmm.
Why were you crying? Why were you tearing up? Why wouldn't you go further?
Because I don't want to be a meme.
Well, hell, I just turned into one.
You were straight a meme. You were definitely a meme.
But is that selfish?
I was very selfish. Yeah. But we got another podcast coming up. I'll cry then. I'm not going to cry on this one.
I'm not asking you not to.
And kind bet that I was gonna cry, and he's not gonna win today.
Okay.
He's not gonna win today.
All right, Will. I'm just kind of.
Oh, that's so prideful though. Let's get that out.
Yeah.
Oh, pride is there.
No. Okay. So we get it, but we're talking to men.
Yeah.
That's your brand.
Yeah. To not cry?
Your brand is men.
I know, man.
Your heart, your passion is men. Why wouldn't you show another man what a man looks like in his emotions?
Yeah.
I know I'm making you feel uncomfortable.
Because I didn't show it too much.
That's what I just felt. I'm like, it's like 1.5 million people. I'm sitting there with Q Parker with the fluff face.
Yeah.
And damn, I done started this again. But I feel like, if I can just be honest with you, bro, like I think I cry at least 4 times a week though. Like,
and that's amazing.
I cry like 4 times a week. Like I cry just driving in the car. Like I'm so grateful. Like if you knew where I came from and the thought processes that was forced upon me because of the neighborhood I came from.
Yeah.
And like to see that divorce didn't kill me. I'm not trying to make it like it didn't hurt, but that part didn't kill me. The words of the people who turned their back didn't kill me. Adoption didn't kill me. My mama saying she didn't want to meet me in 2009 didn't kill me. Like when I look back over my life, I see that it's the hand of the Lord. Like, and so I'm just so grateful. I drive my dream car, bro. Like I wanted this car when I was 7 years old. It's not the 2-door one, but it still got the same steering wheel. And I'm like, yo, like, God, how did we get here? I got friends that I can call. I just called you the other week and don't nobody want nothing from me. I'm like, yo, that's so dope. Like I cry at least 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm a big mush ball. Even my kids like, oh, here you go. I already know.
Can I just add to another brother? Crying is cathartic.
Yeah.
There's something that washes away.
Yeah.
I remember I was in one of my therapy sessions and I was really angry about something. And as I'm telling the therapist, I start to feel those tears well up.
Mm.
And now the tears are coming out. And now the intensity of my voice is changing. Now I'm saying something that ain't too PC for the public.
Mm.
And the therapist just gave me time. My wife gave me time. And the young lady, she said, Jasper, I think you need to cry more.
Wow.
She said, how do you feel? I said, it feels like a ton has been lifted. Wow. Crying is cathartic. No matter where we got to do it. I think it would be helpful and healing, not absolving you from a therapist. I think we need that. But if you want some immediate therapy, one more thing. I yell at God. I remember one night I got in my car. I was so angry at what had happened in my home. And I felt myself I just got in my car and I just drove yelling, God, why? God, I tried. God. And I used some profanity.
Yeah, he know about it.
And it never changed his love for me.
Yeah.
He's a safe place. He could handle my pain.
Wow.
So for the guy who doesn't want to cry, go yell, go shout.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna see you.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about that, I think there's always a narrative for a man.
Yep.
Like a narrative is put on you from the time you get old enough to get it. Like you gonna get around men. I grew up around these OGs. I ain't never seen my daddy cry. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No?
I seen him cry one time when his mama died, but he didn't cry at the funeral.
Okay.
He cried when he found out. It was so weird to me because I had never seen Superman cry.
Never seen my dad cry either.
And I went in there and he was trying to hide, but he just opened up the door. He said, "Come on in here."
Oh.
And as he was crying, like I just held him, and he was like, she was a good woman. And he began to reflect on all of the moments that she helped him. And I can still see it now, just in my bedroom, because their bedroom doesn't have the door. It's kind of in the mid walkway area. And then my room is there. And he sat there, he cried. And he said, man, but she ain't got no more suffering. She ain't got no more suffering. She cried.
Yeah.
I seen him tear up when I found out my biological family did not want to meet me in 2009. But it was just something that he couldn't save me from. Cause my daddy gonna always come to my rescue. He's like, as long as I got breath in my lungs, I ain't one of them daddies. When you turn 18, you got to get out of here. You better go be a man. You gonna be a man and you got long enough to be a man. But as long as I'm a man on this earth, it ain't nothing that I'm not gonna do for you. And I don't know if people know what type of confidence that gives a man to know. Like, he 94 years old.
Yes.
To this day, it's like, I rented a beautiful home for us in Memphis or whatever. And he just like, you know, he goes in and out and he's like, man, this is your house in Memphis. You got houses everywhere. I was like, no, I rented this. You rented it like a hotel? I was like, yeah. Shit, how much you paid for it? Because I'm going to do something for you.
Wow.
It's just like, and if you try not to get it from him, he said, come in, let me talk to you. He said, you see these little boys, all this pretty hair, your boys, there's going to be a time, man, ain't nothing you can do for them, man.
Wow.
There ain't going to be nothing for you. He said, man, so when I try to give you this little $100, $200, man, take this money, make me feel like I'm doing something for you.
Yeah.
And so he just gives you so much confidence. And I just think so many men need to know that, because, you know, coaches will be like, hey, no, don't cry. You got to this, that, and other. Man, I done cried and ran touchdowns. I done cried and won track meets. I done cried and did podcasts. I done cried my way into a radio station that I used to sneak into and get a dude who was on the board out $25 just so I can tape content, and now I got access to it. So I'm like I'm totally grateful for the opportunity to cry, because I'm gonna get it up out of me. And my daddy let me know ain't nothing soft about that, man. Get that up out of you. I don't do it because I was, I was taught different. But shoot, man, go on, get that out of you so you can go and get back to it.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it from your father.
Yeah.
Now, to the gentleman who didn't get it, what I would say, maybe you say something different. Now go be it. You go do what you didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that's going to happen is you embracing your manhood, and for you having a desire to want to be there. The cycle is the cycle, but we can break it when we flip what didn't happen for the good of the ones that mean so much to us.
Yeah, man.
That's real.
I'm so proud of the fact that you had Willie Moore Sr.
Oh, yes.
in your life.
Yes.
I don't know if we would see this version of you
No, I know
if it
it
weren't for
won't
him. Man, the more you talk about him, it's like, I don't want to leave this world till I get a chance to look that man in his eye, shake his hand or something. Because just watching him through you, and just how you talk, like some of your mannerisms and how you do, man, you were blessed in a way that most of us were not.
I didn't know that until 2020 when I met my biological family. And they are great people.
Say
I want to
less.
say
I get
that
it.
publicly.
I get it. No, I get it.
It just, I had an anomaly family. And if you only focus on the money and what people can provide, like, you would miss what I grew up in that blessing. Like, I look at this world.
Oh, you messing me up right
now. And I
bro.
see how people just praise money and look at their house, look at their cars and look at all that. I was like, man, it was drugs out there. It was people with guns out there. But when I walked through that door, man, it was just so much peace and love and order. Like, cause it was order. It wasn't always clean, because my mama wasn't no big time housekeeper and all that. Even though they cleaned up hospitals and schools, like, our house didn't look like they was janitors. I tell you that much. But man, it was just a house of like comfort. And here's the thing. I had this not to like super go long, but I remember when I first started making some money, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move you up out the hood. He was like, add neighbor to that. This is a neighborhood. I said, all right. And then finally he mustered the energy, because I ain't never want to like, I find me doing this to my Peyton, because he doesn't have fragile emotions, but he has a big imagination. And you don't ever want to, I don't want to crush his imagination. Yeah. So they don't want to be like, hey, you self-absorbed, or, say words like that. But he said, hey man, it's 19, what was it, Flo? 74? I think 74 it's 1974. We came in this neighborhood, what number white folk? We was only two black people, me and Mr. Will across the street. Man, I worked hard, man, and got a loan, $21,000, a lot of money back in 74. And I bought that house, man, one of the happiest moments of my life, man. 79, we got you. Shit, I had to change my shit a little bit because I was having too much fun. Me and her still was having fun. He said, man, I say all that to say, man, I appreciate your ambition to want to go out there and get me something new, man. But let me just tell you, man, this here's my house, man. This is the house I built. I don't want to leave my house,
you understand
man.
what I'm saying to you, bro?
So he didn't offend me.
Yeah.
So all I could do was help with the bills and maybe help with the yard. I still pay for the landscapers and all that stuff and help pay, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
man.
but
This what a man is.
this what a man is. I
He
know this ain't
owns something.
this ain't that mansion,
Right.
you know, that little
But
thing
it's
you got
mine.
down there. But hell, this mine. I don't
It's
want.
mine.
He came to my house. I don't need all this. Hell, you got kids, you know, and cheering. I had you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm honored to hear that. Like, that even challenges me. I ain't never met your dad in a place that I need to be challenged.
Yeah.
And I thought I was doing good. I can do gooder.
No education either. But when I met my biological family, they were good. But that agape,
They had that.
it's like you could do something wrong, and it's just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You know how he is. I ain't never heard that in none of my family.
Mm.
Like, we get to the issue and we move the hell on. We be like my brother, he good at it, but we never had the ability to cut people off. You know how people cut people off?
Mhm.
Like, oh man, you violated me, it's cool. It's like, that ain't the love of Christ.
Wow.
And they weren't churchgoers.
Mm.
I had to ask my family when we was just out there, I was like, hey, when we get so saved though, was y'all saved like this when I know y'all didn't drink like that on this side of the family. I know mama, daddy them did. Daddy them family did, but you didn't. It's like, nah, life hit us and we got saved about 20 years ago in this regard.
Mm.
But just seeing that, I don't think I was ever as grateful as I was until 2020. I spent my whole life wanting something better. I thought that was like, I wasn't grateful with what I had because there was a question mark on what was. So I enjoyed myself, but I didn't bask in how much joy and jovial energy we had. But baby, when 2020 came, I met everybody. And then by 2022, man, I'm going to family reunions. I no longer wanted to prove that I belonged somewhere else or prove that I belonged there. I was in this middle space. And I looked at everybody. I was like, oh, I belong in all these.
Yep.
This the way God wanted it for me.
Oh,
And it just healed everything in me. So I honor my father. He the best dude I done ever seen.
me too.
Yeah.
I
you
honor
bless
my
me.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honor my father too.
Yeah.
Since y'all. No, I do honor my father. Let me say this to you.
You do it. I know that from a personal place.
Indeed, man. Indeed.
Yeah.
When you said it wasn't about the money and everything,
Man.
it hit me in a very interesting place because I think that there's a part of me that feels like you get to a certain point and then you start living like you want to live.
Mhm.
When the truth is, you can live like you want to live on any level. Let's be real.
Oh, that's good.
On any level. And I think that some of maybe even my wife's or maybe my family's angst is I'm always grinding. I'm always about the next thing, the biggest opportunity, showing up in certain ways. But I don't have that same energy about showing up to the family that way when we ain't in Bali, when we not, in the Maldives, but like in the backyard, put a tent in the backyard or put a picnic out there. I asked about picnic for the longest time. And I'm like, I shouldn't say picnic, but about a, little go outside and eat,
Yeah.
longest time. I'm like, you ain't like you that. There's too many bugs. You ain't like bugs like that. But no. It's the idea. It's the effort. It's showing up. And I got to do a better job of showing up in the small moments in a big way.
I didn't do that until I was out of the house.
Oh.
Like, I was just like that. Like, man, Atlanta do that to you though.
Well, that's true.
You know what I mean? You got to get it. You feel like, especially if you got a little boy that ain't all the way healed on the inside of you, like, you like, I got to get it. Because this is your sense of belonging. Like, this is your identity. Like, I at least want to be seen as a person of excellence in business, right? But now, like, I'm and I say this humbly, like, such a better a father. Like, because I just invested in an air mattress. They got these beautiful rooms, but they love the air mattress downstairs on the main floor with the big TV.
Ain't that crazy?
Hurts my back. Sometimes deflates.
Yeah.
But it's like, can we have movie night?
Wow.
And so instead of missing that moment, because back in the day, I'd have said, oh, you're going to have a movie theater.
Yes.
So I'm about to go super hard.
Yep.
And the next house, the next, And then I missed the moment. So while we're there, I was like, y'all want to dream a little bit?
Guilty.
Like, what we finna dream about? Man, what if we have a theater? Yeah, in the next house. Or the one you buy Peyton after you go platinum. Let's get him rich too. Cause you some money. And so we started doing that. And it just brings out my inner child and I don't miss the moment. Cause I miss so many moments. My baby told me, he was like, yeah, cause you was gone. I was like, I wasn't. Well, I guess I was. But it was just the weekend. Well, I was at school during the week.
Oh.
I was like, damn. I guess I was gone because Friday, Saturday. And then in my head, I'm on stages across the world. I'm always home Sunday. But what does Sunday do for a child who wanted you on Friday?
Yeah, man. I always wanted to be appreciated for funding the trip that I couldn't make it on. I wanted to be appreciated for making it happen. Y'all in Disney World, I made it happen.
Yeah, I got y'all.
And I felt some type of way when it was like, yeah, but we wanted you here. Yeah, you wouldn't have, hey, somebody got to make money to get y'all there. They didn't care nothing about that, bro.
Yeah.
What they wanted was me on whatever level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a chance.
Guilty as charged.
I had a chance to tell my dad, Dad, after all that you have done, I won't go down the list. I said I would rather live in Bowen Homes. Wow. And Bowen Homes was a project that Salem had adopted. I said I would have rather lived in Bowen Homes with you than not had you and all the stuff. Hopefully I'm punctuating the moment that they need us. Yeah. They need our presence. And if all we can give them in presence is a FaceTime or a phone call, I just believe that God graces those kinds of things.
Yes. When
we are sensitive and aware that we want to have connection with our children. And it's not about the things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's about us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's real. So I know they're going to probably be hitting me with the light soon. Anything that I feel like, I just want to kind of give final thoughts. Anything that you want to share, because it's not off. Do me a favor. I ain't even told you to like, subscribe, share. Maybe Shaquan to add one of these early, put some of this early, because we dove right into the conversation, and I'm the only one who was teary, so I still have tissue in my hand. But I want to, I want to give you an opportunity to just share your heart and your thoughts at the end. No direction at all, but I just want to give you the opportunity to share. Katie Bowe.
Man, the main thing is I want to tell brothers to be kind to yourself. That's one of the hardest things for me to embrace when I was going through therapy. Yeah. Dr. Kohler said, hey, man, be kind to yourself. And I didn't really understand what being kind to myself meant because I don't know really what that looks like. In a moment where I'm feeling frustrated, in a moment where I'm feeling really, really salty, and my scorch the earth moments, how do I be kind to myself? And this last therapy session, I asked him, I said, what you mean? He said, being kind to yourself is allowing yourself, giving yourself room to feel what you feel without judgment. Feel what you feel. Mm-hmm. Feel entitled to that emotion. Feel entitled to grief. Mm-hmm. Feel entitled to anger. Feel entitled to feeling alone or lonely. Feel entitled to it and feel it. Mm-hmm. You're not wrong for it. Feel it. So that's what I started doing. And I feel better. I express myself now from that place of emotions, not from the place of my extra verbosity. Like that.
That was good. I just want to tell you, whatever the hell that is, felt right. Verbosity.
So, be kind to yourself. And it starts there. So when you're showing up on that FaceTime or you're showing up and however you show up, gentlemen, be kind to you first. Be kind to you first. Then you'll be able to show up in a better way to everybody else.
Indeed. Jasper Williams, the third. Final words, or
I'm gonna piggyback or add to what you just said. We talked about it earlier, but be aware that as much of man that you are, that there's a little boy there.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And if there is an awareness, I was hurt, I was abandoned, I had to be raised by a mean mom or an alcoholic father. That's a part of who you are now. And that moment could help you see life differently. But it only happens when you recognize that there's a little boy in there who's probably scared, who's probably feeling unloved, unseen. Recognizing that your whole being includes him too.
Yeah. Yo, I was like 21 years old when I got my first record deal, so I'm making a little money, okay? By 22, I had my first child. At 26, I go get married, and life coming at your nephew fast, okay? The truth is I have all these goals, dreams, and aspirations, but I don't necessarily have the tools to sustain these dreams, goals, and aspirations. But throughout the years, I've learned so much by being mentored by Dr. Eric Thomas, by getting the opportunity to rub elbows with the likes of President Obama and so many others, that I learned so much just on the fly. I believe it's two ways to learn information: mentors or mistakes. And I want to make sure that men don't keep making the same mistakes, because moments quickly become memories. So there's some things that I've learned in the area of God, family, and business. So coming up here in June, I got a 3-day challenge for men. So ladies, make sure you get as many men as possible to be a part of this mentorship. 3-day challenge. We're going to be teaching God, family, and business. What it looks like to be a man of God, working through your insecurities and understanding perfection doesn't exist, but we stay in the process. And then, of course, being a good family man, taking care of your children and your business. And then finally, if you are in business, maybe there's an opportunity for you to take that business up to a 7 or 8 figure earning business. I want to see that happen for you. I didn't have this type of tool when I was coming up, but I want to make sure that men ages 25 and on up get the opportunity to be mentored and get these tools. So log on to morementorship.com right now, click the link in the YouTube, and make sure you be a part of this amazing opportunity. Yeah, shout out to my son.
Y'all can join.
Join now, flat out. That's real.
It's good, bro.
That's real.
It's good.
Thank you to my guests. I was I often tell you I was adopted when I was 3 months old. And later on in my life, when I became like a youth pastor, I would just encounter so many children. They always send me to the hood when I was a youth pastor. Maybe because I come from the neighborhood where sometimes people put a jacket on us where, these are the kids you can't talk to, and, you only got 10 minutes. And I remember going, being a youth pastor, going to a foster home, they'd be like, you got 15 minutes, their attention can't this, that, and other. We get to 15 minutes, and I'll be like, y'all want me to quit? They'd be like, no! And I'd be like, you sure? Because they paying me to be here too, and I don't want to be disobedient. And I would just continue, and 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, I remember one time looking at these children in a foster home, and I felt like Holy Spirit said it, and I feel it warranted to tell you that children come from God, and they come through parents, meaning that the way I see it in my heart and my head is that Jesus is there, God the Father's there, and it's like, this one, go through this canal. But when he goes like this, he's inserting purpose into the earth. And whatever canal he allows you to go through, it is conducive for the purpose that God has for you.
Okay.
The issue is with the little boy in you, is that you might not have liked the canal and you may not have liked the landing spot, but it's just unfortunate until this moment. I want to let you know that God had purpose for it, and there's purpose that comes from it. The biggest issue with us men is we look to the left and we look to the right, and we begin to compare our situation to other men, because the truth is you put some things on top of your purpose that didn't actually come from God. At 7, you played, that's mine. I want that house. I want this house. I want to live in this city. And we made everything our way. But it's not until you realize at this big age that maybe there are some things that you put on top of purpose that God is trying to fish out so we can get you back to the foundation of who he made you to be. When he sent you through that canal, you had a purpose before you had a plan, right? And so what I want to challenge you to do in this moment, I want you to look at where you were, and I'll be very transparent. I said, okay, I came through a canal. I didn't get a chance to touch my mama. They put me in a foster home. My daddy walks in, he didn't want to go, and he said, who's the little guy in the middle bed? And they's like, that's him, and that was me. And then I get there, his name is Willie, right? And so he don't even have to name me Willie Jr. because my name already Willie, and it just all connected. And then I was able to grow from that moment. Maybe yours was different. You came through the canal and you ended up maybe in a place where people love habits more than they love children. Maybe you're called to talk to people with those habits, to give them the opportunity to see that you can still win. You know why I get a chance to go to adoption agencies across the world? It's because when God sent me through that canal, he had a purpose for my situation. And so what I want you to do is shift your trajectory and mindset towards the fact that God didn't just give me this for his sake, right? He gave it for your sake. You've been wondering, man, am I supposed to really be working this job? Sure. I encourage you to step down before you step out. Don't just quit. I got my purpose. See, babe, this is not a time to pat on her to tell you it's time to quit my job. I told you I had a purpose. That ain't that. What I'm telling you is I want you to reframe your situation. Bro, reframe your situation. Take that pressure off of you. Man, God didn't make a mistake when he gave you what he gave you. And he knows exactly where you are. Bro, I was talking to God with a Black & Mild wine wood tip in my hands with a Budweiser, looking at things on my phone that Lord knows I don't even want nobody to know about. But I kept on talking to him because I wanted to learn more about my purpose. It was people in my ear telling me, you can't do that and you a man of God, and you shouldn't be doing that if you just did nothing. I was like, until he give me some form of conviction, I'm gonna keep on down this path because he gonna use it too. And who would have thought me sharing Black & Mild alcohol and pornography on my phone is not building a bridge between you and I, because you realize that you're not the only one that's going through that, still loving God. Bro, everything has a purpose. And even if nobody supports the fact that you have a purpose, now you know it comes from God. So who needs their support until it comes? Just be consistent. And don't let this moment make you feel like you're not worthy of the opportunity that God has right before you. Man, they trying to fool you, bro. For real, the enemy knew that when you was a kid, that you was supposed, like he touched me and you were violated and somebody did some certain thing. You still hold on there to you, bro. Like that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair. But that's something that God want to use to bring you back to purpose, not to destroy your destiny. I'm talking to you today, not because I want something from you, but because I've been there. And some days I'm still there. And through it all, I know it's all purposeful. And I pray that you discover through these brief words that it's purposeful for you too. I'm challenging you to go win on purpose. Even with the bullshit that comes with being a man, you can still win. I believe in you. Make sure you share this with a few men that you love. Ladies, make sure that you share this to some women who need to discover how men think. And last but not least, click all three of my buttons: subscribe, comment, like. And man, something special is happening in the earth with men. I'm just glad that we're a part of it and we get an opportunity to contribute a voice of maturity prayerfully that's been beneficial to you. Don't forget to love yourself more. Flat out.
Love you more, love you more.